Football, carnivals, and a booming market for commerce and culture makes Brazil one of the most lavish countries in the world where people can earn up to $30 billion. Obviously, we can all relate to what a multi-millionaire's lifestyle in Brazil is like, but what about the country's billionaires? If you're a fan of two Army Hammers and soft piano music, then this name may sound familiar to you. Right out of the film The Social Network, the richest Brazilian is Eduardo Saverin, the co-founder of Meta Inc., formerly known as Facebook. For a long time, Jorge Paulo Lemann held the title of Brazil's richest, until Saverin's latest payoff shot him into first. At present, Saverin is worth just over $17 billion. The majority of Saverin's wealth still comes from the small stake in Facebook that he owns, but he has since become a venture capitalist after giving up his US citizenship just before Facebook's IPO. He has opened a venture capital fund that currently manages $1.4 billion in assets. The second wealthiest human being in the beautiful country of Brazil is the previously mentioned Jorge Paulo Lemann, an 83-year-old Brazilian citizen who is currently worth $16.2 billion. Lemann began as a smaller investment banker, earning his money little by little until he struck gold when he gained a controlling stake in Anheuser-Busch InBev. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them, but let's just say I'm a fan of their work. In 2013, Lehman's private equity firm 3G Capital and Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway bought H.J. Heinz & Company. In 2016, the company completed their $100 billion acquisition of SABMiller, obtaining several other well-known beer brands. This venture was so profitable that it led to Lehman's net worth being the highest it had ever been, and has ever been to this day. In 2017, Jorge Paulo Lemann was worth just under $30 billion. His two fellow shareholders of Anheuser-Busch just so happened to both crack the top 5 of Brazil's richest as well. Marcel Herman Telles is the third most wealthy with a net worth of $11.5 billion. The fifth richest in the country is Carlos Alberto Sicupira, who is worth $8.7 billion. Together, the three also hold stakes in Restaurant Brands International, parent of Burger King and Canadian coffee chain Tim Hortons. I guess people can't just crack a Budweiser at any time of day. The fourth richest Brazilian is Jorge Molfilo, a physician who founded the hospital and laboratory company Rede D'Or in 1977. He currently sits as the board of the company's president, following hundreds of million dollars in sales as well as stock purchases and buyouts. Filo is currently worth just under $10.5 billion. Some of these Brazilian billionaires, like Lemann and Saverin, have since taken up residence in other countries, but Jorge Molfilo still resides in beautiful Rio de Janeiro. Brazil is known for many lavish activities that give the country's billionaires plenty of things to do when they're not busy raking in the dough. The country is home to several of the greatest classic car dealers in the world. The country's automobile industry began in the 1940s, attracting even more immigrants to the already diverse melting pot. Today, a car in Brazil will sell for 2.5 times what it would sell in the United States. This gives classic car dealers extreme wealth for sales of Fiats and Porsches. Brazil is also a global leader when it comes to fashion. The streets of Sao Paulo are lined with designers known the world over. With some of the most expensive clothes on display, most people try to stand at just the right angle while window shopping so their head is placed perfectly and they can imagine what they look like, while the richest in the country can actually afford that $1,000 Asplin dress. That being said, the street of Paulista Avenue is lined with some of the most luxury brands like Iguatemi and Daslu, so that just a stroll up the street makes you feel a little wealthier. Brazil is also home to some of the most plentiful mineral mines in the world. People may as well be tossing precious gemstones over their shoulder into a fountain to make a wish. That being said, while they are plentiful, they certainly have garnered a global reputation that makes Brazilian jewelry an extreme luxury item. H. Stern is a Brazilian jewelry brand that is known worldwide for its fine craftsmanship and elegant design. Often pieces of jewelry well exceed $1,000, and if you're in the market for a gold necklace, the great folks over at H. Stern can sell you one for the low price of $62,000. Its jewelry and cars are fantastic, but nothing quite beats the industry that put Brazil on the map in the first place. The richest people from around the world will travel to Brazil just for a great meal and a cup of coffee. The streets of Sao Paulo are lined with more than 12,000 restaurants, some offering affordable prices while others like DOM provide a luxury dining experience. Nothing beats the coffee. If my generation would stop injecting coffee as their lifeblood and sit back and enjoy it, they may find a trip to Brazil worthwhile. Gourmet cafes such as Christoph's and Santa Grau have been capitalizing on the nation's chief export of over 100 years. I am not a big coffee drinker, but if I ever gained the wealth of the world's richest, I would take a trip to Brazil for their other main export, chocolate. A rising luxury brand in the heart of Sao Paulo is known as Chocolat du Jour. That's French for get in my belly. The gourmet chocolate produced by this company has captured headlines the world over, and is a great representation of the lengths Brazilian business owners will go to be a destination for the country's richest. As far as the beautiful country of Brazil goes, its wealth is centralized in 2 locations. The first is the country's business capital of Sao Paulo. The capital city of the Brazilian state with the same name is the most industrious city in Latin America. In the latter 19th century, the city grew to be the largest city in the southern hemisphere, and thanks to Brazil's chief export of coffee, the city became an economic powerhouse. Since its expansion, millions have migrated from all across South America as well as Europe, growing the city in size and furthering its metropolitan evolution. For the richest among the citizenry, Sao Paulo is first and foremost a working city, with the luxury lifestyle taking a backseat to other major Brazilian locations. Its multiple skyscrapers were all built within the last 100 years or so, with little to no buildings dating back to colonial eras. As stated, Sao Paulo is primarily a nation of immigrants, both from Europe and internal Brazil, as well as settlers from Japan and the Middle East who came in the early 1900s. Today, Sao Paulo has the largest concentration of the Japanese community outside of Japan. This mixture of culture and education levels contributed to the industrialization of the city that allowed it to grow to a place where some of the world's billionaires make their money. Expanding their business out from coffee, Sao Paulo is a global leader in technology, commerce, global trade, banking, and finance. Sao Paulo at one point was akin to Chicago, but eventually outgrew that comparison when it became the engine for Brazilian commerce. It also grew into a cultural leader throughout the 19th century, developing a robust education system and focus on the arts. Needless to say, Sao Paulo is one of South America's mega metropolises, and in 2014 was home to 26 of the world's billionaires. So if Sao Paulo is all work, then the Brazilian billionaires must have a place that is all play. That would be none other than the oceanside capital city of Rio de Janeiro. Known for its extravagant festivals as well as its beach lifestyle, the city is the ultimate leisurely place for the richest in the country. Many billionaires of Brazil choose to work in Sao Paulo while they live in Rio. The city is most known as the cultural hub of the country, with its long-kept history and fine arts exhibits. The city itself is extremely diverse in design. One portion is a tourist attraction, while another is a metropolitan area that is definitely no Sao Paulo, but can certainly hold its own. Though it is known as the leisurely town, it's actually second in its industrial capabilities, with a large market for investment banking and finance, as well as several export-import companies headquartered there. Today, it is not only a desired destination by the wealthiest within the country, but also those outside of it. It has been host to such events as the Pan American Sport Games, the World Cup, and the 2016 Olympic Games, proving its worth as a world travel destination. I can only imagine what the life of a Brazilian billionaire is like. Don't worry though, inventing Facebook is probably really easy, so I'm sure I'll be eating Brazilian cuisine dipped in $100 chocolate on my yacht off the coast of Rio in no time. That or I could sell $18 billion worth of coffee per year like the most profitable coffee company in Brazil.